Why is it that the older you get, the more invisible you start to feel? Have you ever walked into a room and no one seemed to notice? You shared your thoughts, only for the conversation to move on like you never spoke at all. That kind of silence, it doesn't shout, but it slowly chips away at your sense of worth. I understand, because so many people after 60 feel the same. Not because they're wrong or less important, but because the world around them has become too busy to listen to the wisdom they carry. You were once the one others turned to for advice. Now, your children make decisions for you. They say, just rest, don't worry. But that only makes you feel like a burden. And sometimes in the quiet moments, you wonder, have I really become old? Do I still matter? You're not alone. That quiet ache you feel is real. But it doesn't have to stay that way. Because here's the truth. Respect doesn't come from raising your voice. It comes from how you carry yourself, calmly, confidently, with quiet strength. Let me share 6 powerful habits that can help you reclaim your place and remind the world you're still here. Here's the first of 6 powerful habits to help you reclaim your place with quiet confidence. Stop over-explaining. One of the biggest traps many older adults fall into, especially when they feel misunderstood, is trying to explain themselves too much. The more we feel others don't get it, the more we talk. We add more reasons, more emotions, more backstory, hoping that if we just say it the right way, they'll finally understand. But often, the opposite happens. People tune out. They see the long explanation as weakness or desperation rather than strength. Carl, a 74-year-old retired engineer, knows this feeling all too well. A few years ago, his son and daughter-in-law sat him down to talk about moving into an assisted living facility. It's safer, they said. You'll have people to help you. Carl didn't want that. His home was filled with memories. His late wife's favorite curtains, the old vinyl records they used to dance to, his garden he tended every morning. But every time he tried to explain why he wanted to stay, the conversation turned into a debate. He'd say, "I'm still strong," and his son would counter, "But what if you fall?" He'd say, "I know my limits," and they'd reply, "You don't always see them." It felt like he was defending his own life and losing. Then one day, Carl decided to stop justifying. When the topic came up again, he took a deep breath and simply said, "This is my decision. I know it makes me happy, and I'm choosing to stay." There was silence, and for the first time, his son didn't argue. He didn't interrupt. He just nodded and respected it. You see, people don't respect begging. They respect clarity. When you stop trying to win approval and instead speak from a grounded place of self-respect, others notice. You shift the energy of the conversation from one of defense to one of quiet authority. This doesn't mean being cold or harsh. It means standing firm in your truth without needing everyone else to agree. You don't owe the world a long explanation for wanting peace, for choosing what brings you joy, or for saying no. You simply need to be clear and kind, but unwavering. It's okay to say, "I'm not comfortable with that. I've thought about it, and this is my decision. This is what works best for me." You don't have to defend those words. Let them stand. Because when you stop over-explaining, you allow others to feel the strength behind your silence. And more often than not, that strength is what earns their respect. If you've ever felt misunderstood because you tried too hard to explain your point, only to feel like no one was really listening, drop a 1 in the comments. Your story matters, and so does your voice. Let's keep going. Here's another powerful shift that can transform how others see you without you ever needing to raise your voice. Stop seeking approval. It's something many of us don't even realize we're doing. We make choices, but we look around to see who nods in agreement. We hesitate to follow a passion because someone close to us might not understand. We ask for advice, not because we truly need it, but because we want someone to say, "Yes, that's okay. You're allowed." But here's the truth. You don't need permission to be yourself. Grace, a 69-year-old retired nurse, learned this in the most unexpected way. After years of caring for others, patients, her children, her aging husband, she finally had time for herself. One morning, while cleaning out an old drawer, she found a dusty box of watercolor paints she hadn't touched in over 30 years. A quiet thought whispered in her mind, "Maybe I could paint again." When she told her adult children, they smiled politely. But she noticed the hesitation in their eyes. One of them said, "Mom, wouldn't it be better to just relax now? You've worked so hard already." Another suggested a knitting group instead. No one said it outright, but the message was clear. Painting felt unnecessary. A bit silly. Not what a retired mother was expected to do. For a few weeks, Grace let those voices sit in her head. But every time she walked past that box of paints, something in her stirred. So one quiet afternoon, she opened it. She painted a single flower. It wasn't perfect, but it made her feel alive in a way she hadn't felt in years. She kept going. Every morning, she painted a little more. Not to impress anyone, not for likes or praise, just because it made her heart light up. Months later, one of her neighbors saw her work and invited her to submit a few pieces to the local community center's art showcase. Grace hesitated, but said yes. Her paintings were accepted and displayed for a week. On the first day of the exhibit, her children came to visit. They stood in front of her painting, a gentle landscape filled with color and light. And in that moment, something shifted. They didn't just see Mom. They saw Grace, a woman with passion, talent, and depth. Someone worth admiring. That's the power of living for yourself. Not in a selfish way, but in an authentic one. Because when you stop chasing approval and start doing what truly lights you up, people begin to see you differently. They stop seeing age. They start seeing purpose. You don't need the world's permission to try something new. You don't have to explain why you love what you love. If it brings you peace, joy, and a sense of meaning, it's worth doing. And here's something beautiful. When you stop needing others to agree with your choices, you start attracting a different kind of respect. Not the kind that comes from titles or roles, but the kind that comes from being unapologetically yourself. So if there's something you've been wanting to try, painting, writing, traveling solo, learning guitar, don't wait for someone to say it's okay. Do it because it's what your soul has been waiting for. And if you've got something in your heart right now that's just for you, drop it too in the comments. Let's celebrate those quiet, courageous choices together. One of the hardest but most freeing things you can do as you grow older is this. Reset your boundaries. It sounds simple, but for many, it feels impossible, especially when it comes to family. You've spent your life giving, your time, your energy, your care. Saying yes became second nature, especially to your kids and grandkids. Because what kind of parent or grandparent says no? Fred, a 72-year-old retired mechanic, found himself in this exact situation. After his daughter returned to work, she asked if he could help take care of the kids a few days a week. He said yes without hesitation. At first, it was fun, watching cartoons, going to the park, packing little lunches. But as the weeks turned into months, Fred found himself exhausted. His back ached. His mornings started earlier than he liked. His afternoons were filled with tantrums, not rest. He started missing things he loved, like his weekly fishing trips. But he never said anything, because how could he? These were his grandkids. This was family. Then one Thursday night, while rubbing his sore shoulder, Fred looked at his calendar. Another full week, no break in sight, and something inside him clicked. The next morning, over coffee, he sat down with his daughter and said calmly, "I love my grandkids, but I need my Fridays back. I need time for me. I'm going fishing this Friday, and maybe the next one too." He braced for the reaction. He expected disappointment, maybe even anger. But what he got surprised him. His daughter blinked, then nodded slowly. "Thanks for telling me, Dad," she said. "I didn't realize how tired you were. I'll figure something out for Fridays." She didn't get upset. She didn't guilt trip him. In fact, later that week, she thanked him again for being honest and for teaching her something important about balance. Fred got his Fridays back. He also got something else, peace of mind. Because for the first time in a long time, he wasn't stretching himself too thin just to keep everyone else happy. Here's the truth. People can't respect a boundary you never set. If you always say yes, they'll assume you're okay. If you never speak up, they'll never know you're overwhelmed. But when you clearly and kindly express what you need, you teach others how to treat you. And no, you don't need to feel guilty for needing rest, or space, or quiet. Wanting time for yourself doesn't make you selfish. It makes you human. So if you've been feeling like you're always available, always giving, always bending, take a breath. Then ask yourself, what do I need? And how can I start honoring that? It might be 1 day a week, 1 hour a day, a closed door, a gentle not today. But whatever it is, start now. You deserve boundaries. You deserve respect. You deserve space to be you, not just someone's parent, grandparent, helper, or babysitter. And if this resonates with you, if you've ever felt like you've given too much without asking for anything back, type 3 in the comments. Let's start a conversation about reclaiming our space with love, with grace, and without apology. Not every argument is worth your breath. Helen, a spirited 76-year-old woman with a silver bun and a spark in her eye, used to be quick to respond when someone challenged her. Politics, technology, how kids should be raised. You name it, she had a viewpoint, and she was ready to defend it. I spent years trying to convince people I was right, she admitted. At family dinners, on Facebook, even at church socials. And you know what I got for it? Tired, frustrated, disconnected. One day, her grandson, barely 20, laughed and said, "Grandma, you're kind of old school." The old Helen might have launched into a passionate defense of why experience matters more than TikTok trends. But this time she just smiled. "Maybe I am," she said, "but old school raised you, didn't it?" And then she laughed, not out of sarcasm, but with warmth. That moment changed something in her. She realized she no longer needed to prove anything. Not her intelligence, not her worth, not her relevance. She knew who she was. And when you know who you are, you don't need to win every conversation. You just need peace. From then on, Helen stopped diving into debates that led nowhere. When someone tried to bait her into an argument, she paused. If it wasn't worth her energy, she let it go. And strangely, she found people started listening more, not less. Her calm presence made others think deeper. Her quiet smile held more wisdom than any raised voice ever could. She didn't lose respect by staying silent. She gained it. Here's something most people learn late in life. Winning an argument rarely wins hearts, but keeping your peace often does. We've all been there. Try to convince our grown children that we do understand what's going on in the world. Trying to explain to younger folks that the way we did it wasn't ignorance, it was resilience. And sometimes those conversations are worth having, but many times they're not. So the next time someone tries to label you as behind the times or argues just to prove a point, ask yourself, is this worth my energy? Or will my silence say more? A wise person once said, never wrestle with pigs. You both get dirty, and the pig likes it. Helen learned that too. And now, she chooses her peace over her pride. You can too. Let your actions speak. Let your life experience shine quietly. Let people wonder how you stay so grounded. Because wisdom doesn't need a shout. It just needs to be. If you've ever felt worn down by constant arguments, online, at the dinner table, or in your own mind, try this. Breathe. Smile. Say less. And if you've reached a point where you realize you don't need to win anymore to feel worthy, type 4 in the comments. You're not alone. And there's a whole lot of strength in silence. In a world that's constantly rushing, where conversations are interrupted by texts and emails, there's something incredibly powerful about truly being present. Jake, a 78-year-old grandfather with a calm demeanor and a weathered face that spoke of years of wisdom, knew this truth well. His granddaughter, Lily, had come over for a visit one Saturday afternoon, her face scrunched up with frustration. She was dealing with the pressures of high school, her friends, and the constant tug-of-war between wanting to please everyone and being true to herself. As usual, Jake was sitting in his favorite armchair, the one near the window where the sunlight would gently stream in. Lily, not expecting much more than a quick chat and a few pieces of advice, began talking. She vented about her frustrations, the drama at school, the complicated relationships with her friends. Jake didn't interrupt. He didn't offer solutions right away. He didn't even ask questions. Instead, he just did one thing. He looked in her eyes. For the next few minutes, he simply listened, his warm gaze never leaving hers. It was as if, in that moment, nothing else in the world mattered. The TV was off, the phone was down, and for the first time that day, Lily had his full attention. After what felt like an eternity of just being seen, Lily finally stopped talking. She took a deep breath and looked at her grandfather, her eyes softening. Then, with a gentle smile, she said, "You're the only one who really listens to me. Everyone else is always too busy with their own stuff." Jake didn't say anything for a moment. He simply nodded, his face showing understanding. The silence between them wasn't uncomfortable. It was full of unspoken connection. Jake knew something that many of us forget in the chaos of life. Sometimes, the most important thing you can do for someone is just be there. It's not about solving their problems or offering advice. It's about showing up, being fully present, and letting them feel heard. We often underestimate the power of eye contact and a quiet, focused presence. In a world that's loud, distracted, and fast, just stopping to listen can make all the difference. It's the gift of feeling truly seen, of knowing that someone cares enough to put everything else aside and just listen. Jake's simple act of eye contact, without distractions, allowed Lily to feel heard. It wasn't his words that made the difference. It was his presence. We all long for that kind of connection. We all wish someone would truly listen, without judgment, without rushing to give us answers. It's easy to forget in the busyness of life, but it's one of the most meaningful things we can do for the people we care about. So next time someone speaks to you, whether it's a friend, a family member, or even a stranger, try this. Slow down. Put down your phone, turn off the TV, and just look them in the eye. Let them feel the weight of your presence, the comfort of knowing they are truly being heard. Because in a world full of noise, sometimes the most valuable gift you can give someone is your complete attention. If you've ever wished someone would truly listen to you, comment 5 below. You're not alone, and I hope you'll start offering that same gift to others. Linda, at 68, had lived a full life, one marked by her love for family, her dedication to her work, and a deep sense of responsibility. But for years, she had put herself last. She focused on her children, her husband, her community, and her friends. She made sure everyone else was taken care of, often at the expense of her own needs. And somewhere along the way, she had lost touch with the woman she once was. One morning, as she looked in the mirror, she was startled by the reflection staring back at her. She saw a tired woman, not because of age, but because of neglect. Her skin was dull, her posture slouched, and her spirit felt worn out. That day, she made a decision. She would no longer put herself last. Linda started small. She committed to walking 30 minutes every morning before the sun rose. It wasn't about exercise, at least not at first. It was about honoring herself. She wanted to feel alive again. She also started to dress with intention, even if she wasn't going anywhere special. She chose clothes that made her feel confident, something as simple as a soft blouse or a pair of shoes that made her feel comfortable yet put together. At first, it felt strange. It felt like she was doing this for no one else but herself. But slowly, she began to notice the difference. Her mood lifted, her energy increased, and her thoughts became clearer. She was no longer just going through the motions. She was taking the time to invest in her own well-being. "I do this for myself," she told her daughter one afternoon, as she fixed her hair in the mirror. "I want to feel good in my own skin." It wasn't just about appearance, either. Linda made sure her meals were balanced, ensuring she was fueling her body with the nutrients it needed. She stopped skipping meals or grabbing whatever was easiest. She took the time to prepare nourishing foods that would give her the energy she needed to enjoy her day. What Linda soon realized was that when she started taking care of herself, others noticed too. Her children, who had always been worried about her, commented on how vibrant she seemed. Her friends noticed how her presence had changed, how she carried herself with a new sense of dignity. People treated her differently because she treated herself differently. When you care for yourself, it sends a message to the world that you are worthy of care. It's not about vanity, it's about self-respect. When you honor your body, your mind, and your spirit, others will follow your example. They will see your worth in how you present yourself, how you hold yourself, and how you treat your own well-being. The lesson here is simple. Self-care isn't selfish. It's essential. When you nurture yourself, You not only feel better, but you teach others that you deserve respect, and they will respond accordingly. Linda's decision to walk every morning, to dress with care, and to take the time to nourish her body wasn't just about looking good. It was about feeling valued. It was about showing herself the love and respect she had so often given to others. If you believe in the power of self-care, comment 6 to let me know you're here and that you too understand the importance of caring for yourself. Because when you treat yourself like you're valuable, the world will start to treat you that way too. You don't need to demand respect. You can inspire it with the way you live, love, and hold on to your dignity. Remember these 6 key actions. Speak less, but more clearly. Do what you believe in without needing approval from others. Set boundaries and protect your space. Avoid meaningless arguments. Communicate slowly and listen more. Take care of yourself like you are someone of value. When you embrace these habits, you begin to see that respect comes not from what you demand, but from how you carry yourself. It's not about being loud or forceful. It's about living authentically, setting boundaries, and valuing yourself. If this video resonated with you, share it with a friend who could benefit from these insights. Everyone, no matter their age, deserves to be seen, heard, and respected. And don't forget to follow the channel to join us on this journey of living a meaningful, fulfilling life at any age. You're not alone in this journey.